The Bosnian War started in 1992 until 1995. It is basically an ethnically rooted war. The war took place in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is a former Republic of Yugoslavia, with a multi-ethnic population such as Bosniak, Serbs, and Croats. Furthermore, the highest populations of the Socialist Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina are mostly Bosniaks, following the Orthodox Serbs and Catholic Croats. In March 1992, the majority of the Bosnian citizens voted for independence, which is 60% of the population, and successfully in the independence. However, the Bosnian Serbs opposed the independence and rebelled with the support of the Yugoslavia People's Army and Serbia. The Bosnian Serbs leader Radovan Karadzic became the head of state of the independent Serbian Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Then the troops attacked the city of Sarajevo and killed 100 citizens of innocent lives. The major event is the Srebrenica massacre, where 75% of the population in the town of Srebrenica were Muslim. Last but not least, the conflict in Bosnia and Herzegovina involved three Bosnian groups or ethnies have come to an agreement of ceasefire negotiated at Dayton, Ohio, United States in 1995. The agreement was called Dayton Peace Accords 1995.
The Bosnian War has been going on for 3 years, where several factors have been identified as the main factor of the war. The first factor is the dissolution of Yugoslavia state. The Yugoslavia conflict had led to the split of the republic. Indirectly, the economy of the Republican state also became unbalanced, causing each Republican state to prioritize its own republic interests. The Serbia and Croatia is one of the republics which directly involved in the Bosnian War, where each of them has their own demand for self-interest. They also take questioning weaknesses of the Uthmaniyya administration in the aspect of taxation, the issue of armed ownership, judicial and legal issue, as well as the issue of injustice has been misdirected for get their own interests. For an example, in military exemption tax, Orthodox people do not want to pay military exemption tax because they consider that the tax is too high for them as farmers, so that Bosnian war can be considered as their way to take revenge. Second is strong social cleavages. Before the Bosnian war, the country of Yugoslavia has a multiracial and multi-religious population. As a result of the split of Yugoslavia, several republican states have been created which have their own ideological beliefs, especially from the religious aspect, namely the Serb-Orthodox and Croatian. This republic believe that their religion is the best religion compared to others' religion. Their action referred to ethnocentric culture. Because of that, the War of Bosnia happened. Since Bosnia-Herzegovina is Muslim state, Orthodox and Catholic have oppressed Muslims by committing atrocities against Muslims such as ethnic genocide, destroying and burning Muslim placement, and even oppression of Muslims.
On political things, Yugoslavia have three presidents rule at the same time, each from Bosniak, Serb, and Croats. Since each president seeks to promote the interests of his own ethnic group, there is much disagreement on the executive level. Three main parties ruling Yugoslavia are Bosniak Party of Democratic Action, the Serbian Democratic Party, and the Croatian Democratic Union. Constructivism is what we can know about the world as socially constructed actors, usually the powerful ones like leaders and influential citizens. On 15 October 1991, the Parliament of the Socialist Republic of Bosnia and Herzegovina in Sarajevo passed a memorandum on the sovereignty of Bosnia-Herzegovina by a simple majority. This being debatable and many arguments from the Parliament as it needs two-thirds majority of vote from Parliament. To counter Bosnia referendum on independence, Bosnian Serb members of Parliament encouraged their constituents to boycott the vote. Serbia proclaimed the Assembly of the Serb People of Bosnia and Herzegovina on 24 October 1991 to represent Yugoslavia sought to bring Bosnia back into political union. To complement military strategy, leaders on all sides manipulated ethnic identities to foment nationalism as well as to justify their violence. Bosnian Serb on the statement recorded said, "We give this town to the Serb nation. The time has come to take revenge on Muslims." On following day, the massacre of 8,000 Bosnian men and the forced evacuations of many other women and children. Don't be surprised, as this grudge has happened since 1800s during Uthmaniyya era in Bosnia. Religious diversity does exist in Bosnia. However, it did not necessarily cause the Bosnian War, nor is conflict an inevitable product of diversity.
Apart from the political changes, Constructivism also takes nationalism in the aspect of constructed ideas. This has been the major influence since the Communist Party in several republics of Yugoslavia's power prevailed, meaning decreased. At that time, it was said that almost every state in the Republic of Yugoslavia was facing economic problems, which later resulted in how the leaders in Yugoslavia used economic issues to construct social ideas about the other group and even their own people. Many Croatians, for example, are led to believe that no matter how hard they work, the economic problems will persist because they must contribute to the federal state, thus paying tax to the republics, and causes conflicts among the states. Following to the ideological aspect, cultural changes also take place during the outbreak of Yugoslavia. In Constructivism, it emphasized religion as part of the cultural changes. The Croats and the Serbs seem to oblige to the particular religion as Croats embraces Catholic, meanwhile the Serbs with the Orthodox beliefs. With that, they decided to promote religion as a core of component of national identity. However, with the large number of Bosniak populations, the Muslim, it has become a conflict among the Orthodox and Catholic believers, which has led to a Yugoslav military offensive aimed at eradicating certain ethnic, which also described as ethnic cleansing.
In conclusions, the topic that have been discussed, Bosnian War comprised of the factor of the conflict, who and which parties involved in the war, and the recommendations of the conflict. In the factor of the conflict, it is highly agreed that the war happens after the dissolution of Yugoslavia. The second reason can be identified in the strong social cleavages. Next is the parties involved. The war in Bosnia and Herzegovina only happens among Bosnians. In this statement referred to the Bosniaks, Serbs and Croats. There is an exception in terms of the involvement from the outside of Bosnia, which is not Atlantic Treaty Organizations, NATO and United Nations, UN, but only on the humanitarian aid and the peacekeeper policy, which is their responsibilities as global organizations. Last but not least, the Bosnian War was very tragic even where the genocide happens. The victims was mostly on Bosniaks. This happens when they are not united by a good leader. This also happens when one group only serves their own people for their purposes. Hopefully, the Dayton Peace Accord will end the conflict in the future and give the reader, leader, and the public awareness of the importance of unity in society to prevent conflicts, especially with a multi-ethnic country.